Let's talk about some Republican transphobia. That's not anything new now. We know that's something that's still a thing.
Right.
That's been a thing. Let's take a look at just a few examples from the last 24 hours of bigotry. As the House of Representatives debated the Equality Act, which would make it illegal to discriminate against LGBTQIA Americans, Representative Marie Newman, a Democrat from Illinois, decided to hang up a trans pride flag outside her congressional office. Representative Newman did this because her own daughter is trans, and she wanted to remind her office neighbor, listen to who her office neighbor is, y'all. Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. She steals something in the House. She steals something in Congress. Let's put that in mind. After we felt like we silenced her, she's still here acting up. This is where. Here's the tweet that Newman posted. She said, our neighbor, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, tried to block the Equality Act because she believes prohibiting discrimination against trans Americans is disgusting, immoral, and evil. Thought we'd put up our transgender flag so she can look at it every time she opens the door. In response, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted this. Our neighbor, Representative Marie Newman, wants to pass the so-called Equality Act to destroy women's rights and religious freedoms. Thought we'd put up ours so she can look at it every day, every time she opens the door. So Newman recapped the whole exchange with Marjorie Taylor Greene on CNN. Let's take a look.
Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
How did this fight with Marjorie Taylor Greene start exactly?
Well, it was never meant to be a fight. It was a statement I felt very necessary. This woman has supported insurrection. She voted against the election. She believes in a wide variety of conspiracy theories. She has been called out any number of times. But on this issue yesterday, she tried to block the Equality Act. And I felt as though she needed to hear from us. And what I mean by that is that I just wanted to make a statement so that she sees LGBTQ plus people. And so the symbolism was simply to put the flag out there so she has to see our community every day. I'm immensely proud of my daughter, and that's all anyone is asking for, is to be treated as anyone else. And that's what I want Representative Greene to see.
So when you walked outside of your office and you saw that sign that she put up that said there are two genders, male and female, trust the science, what were your thoughts?
Well, two things. I thought, wow, she's got a lot of time on her hands because she would have to go get that printed and decide that this is the right thing to do. So it kind of wild on a bunch of fronts. But, further, what I would say is that she's welcome to her sign. No one's buying it, and that is not science.
Well, not only that, she likes science. This is the same congresswoman who proudly doesn't wear a mask in close confined quarters, as we saw, I believe, on January 6th. But
She the scum of the earth. I'm sorry. Hi, Ben. Welcome back.
Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a scum of the earth, and it's great to have you back, Benjamin Dixon. Let me get through the segment and we'll get you right in. So now that we've recapped some of the transphobia in the House, as we can see, especially by Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who still seems to have a voice, let's take a look at the Senate. Rand Paul, Republican senator from Kentucky, was interviewing Biden's nominee for Assistant Health Secretary, Rachel Levine, who would be the first trans person to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Now, let's listen to this horrifying line of questioning.
Senator Paul.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force.
Like straight up,
but as WHO notes that by social convention, social norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust.
So Levine, as we see, has been subjected to repeat misgendering by Republican lawmakers and staff since her nomination, particularly during the lead up to the House passage of the Equality Act on Thursday. So finally, it was announced yesterday that Hasbro will begin selling potato. We're not going to go into that because I need to unpack this first.
Yeah.
What we just saw.
Yeah.
So what we just saw was abuse.
I'm glad.
Verbal abuse.
I'm glad Rand Paul's neighbor beat his ass.
That
I'm proud of that. The happiest moment of my political experience was when Rand Paul got his ass beat by his neighbor, because it takes a sick, twisted, demented piece of crap for you to intentionally frame this conversation and those lines of questioning in that way. And it's designed specifically to cause emotional harm to Dr. Levine and to the trans community in general. My only regret is that his neighbor didn't beat his ass twice. That's all I got to say about him.
So, yeah, it's crazy because you said you're glad that he got his behind beat. It's funny because that didn't stop him from doing what he did the other day.
So apparently it wasn't done well enough, because that is pure evil wrapped in being professional sounding with a suit and a tie and in the Senate. It is pure evil being forced through the American conversation by virtue of the Senate. So apparently he didn't learn his lesson well enough the first time. And apparently this is just something Republicans just don't get. And they're going to continuously doing these types of things. And I apologize for cutting you off again, Rebecca, but this dude right here in this moment right here shows you exactly how malicious they are. See, I don't care what people believe, what they want to do, what you want to preach your children, what you want to teach your children, what you want to go to church and do. But what you do not have the right to do is cause intentional harm to somebody and expect us to stand by just because you're a senator and say, oh, he's a senator. No, my dude. No, you're going to run up on the right one with your...
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying. And I think, so the point I was trying to get to is he got his behind whooped, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene, they thought they laid the hammer on her as well. They thought they silenced her voice, but nothing seems to be stopping these Republicans. They will literally rise up from the dead and like try to attack, abuse, hurt people. My thing is, he looked at this trans woman and literally was stating these things, but looking her in her eyes and saying these things against her, knowing that she was trans. That's where my problem was. It's like, ma'am was so she was so upset. She took off her mask.
Her mask, right.
And was like, see, I'm about to risk it all because you trying it right now. You trying it. And let me show you, these hands still work, baby, no matter what. Hands is hands.
I was about to say, he was about to get that trans life for real. What you really want to know about.
Hands are hands,
because
sweetie.
Let me tell you, you got catch you in the goddamn street. It's on.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. We look at these people and we hear these people, but they have the floor. They have the mics.
Right.
And that's what bothers me so much. We thought we silenced Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
She came, We thought we did. Now, I will say with Representative Marie Newman, I understand that Marjorie Taylor Greene is right across the way from her, and she wanted to she said she wanted to make sure she put that out so that that message can be heard. But this is sometimes too, I feel like and I might be going another side of the whole conversation here, but this is sometimes I feel like we lean in to the wrong things. Put your flag out and just, that's what you're representing. That's it. Don't put it out to antagonize that crazy lady across the way, right? Because you know that she's going to start. And what happens? We start giving them attention. She was supposed to be silenced. She was not supposed to be a part of any of this. Like we weren't supposed to be bringing up Marjorie Taylor Greene. We know that she's going to be dumb enough to go put this stuff out. We know. I know it hurts. I know it sucks having that person right across the way from you that disrespects your own daughter, right? What your daughter stands for, who your daughter is. I have neighbors who don't like me because of the way that I look. But you think that's I'm moving? I'm not, sweetie. I'm not moving at all. But I'm not going to keep acknowledging them either. Like, I'm going to keep living here normally, doing my thing, and you're just going to have to deal with it. We have other things to focus on. And when we do stuff like this, we put this in the news cycle. We already know how terrible Marjorie Taylor Greene is. We know she's nasty. We know that she's a conspiracy theorist. We know what she stands for. But let's not give it any attention. Because now what happens is we have this. She's in our news cycle. She's in our thinking process right now. She's in our conversation right now. So
I hear you. I hear you. But like, for one congressperson to not be able to make their statement outside of their door without the other one, like, being the piece of scum of the earth, fecal matter that Marjorie Taylor Greene is. I mean, whether we can't make our decisions based on how bigoted and how reactionary the opposition is going to be, because that's what they're going to be anyway, right? Like, look at like Dr. Levine simply trying to get Senate confirmation. Her just pure existence, like the fact that she's alive and that she's a trans woman, and that was enough to elicit all of this barbarity from Republicans, right? So it's one thing, and I hear you in saying in terms of like antagonizing, but these bigots, you don't have to antagonize. They're just assholes. They are just evil, malicious, sadistic people who have no business in power. And it really speaks to how deranged this country is as a whole, because the reason they're in power is because they got like millions of other people who see the world exactly like they do. And so underneath this, we have a much bigger problem. And the much bigger problem is that there's an entire half of this country that revels in this bigotry. And whether or not we proactively make a statement or whether or not we just exist, they're coming after us anyway.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But what I'm saying is, when you have, like what Marie Newman said, Representative Marie Newman said, she knew what Marjorie Taylor Greene stood for. And she's like, let me just, put this out my door because XYZ. Just put it outside your door because you're representing your daughter. That's it. There's no reason. And that, now it's a difference. It's a difference with Representative Levine sitting there and him literally looking at her and disrespecting her in that way. Like, she didn't know that was going to happen. She didn't know that she was going to be set up for that. She thought like this is going to be a different kind of situation. And he literally looked at her and like, you're trans and that's disgusting. You're trans and that's disgusting. She didn't know that was a setup. Now, this back and forth happening in Congress, there's so much more to be talked about. There's so much more to be doing. Now, on like I said, Representative Levine, like, that was Dr. Levine. That's trash. That's Rand Paul is trash. We know that. But that was not expected. She was ready to be like, wait, first of all, respect me. Respect me. Now in the Congress, like things like that, the door to door, she's going to be putting up her sign. She's going to be putting up her sign. It's stupid. Like, we know who like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene does not deserve any light anymore. We know that she's dumb. We know that she's trash. We know that she's scum. Like, it almost feels like high school at this point. But
that's what somebody literally tweeted. What's your boy name? Bakari Sellers from CNN said,
yeah, it feels
Congress
childish.
is high school.
It's like me going to my locker and being like, look at that girl over there. She mad, but I'm gonna make her real mad. It's just like, no, like we got so much more to really focus on at this point. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
about
that 15 an hour that I was my internet time.
Yeah, go ahead and speak on it because I know you was ready.
No. It's no. I mean, I missed the whole segment. And shout out to this. If I clown FAMU internet, I'm gonna have to clown this Bethune-Cookman internet I got over here today. But
the Lord works in mysterious ways.
I almost said your mama. I forgot what I was like. But to the bigger point, man. These the one thing I don't agree with people who say, and I don't know if this is what you're saying, Rebecca, but I did see this on Twitter all day yesterday. They were like, don't give her Marjorie Taylor Greene, don't give her any air, any oxygen, don't let her grow. The trick is that they don't need us to give them air. They have millions of people and billions of dollars to do that. And so whether or not we talk about her or not, she's going to continuously rise in this country because there are millions of people who see the world just like she does. And so the question becomes, do we sit back and say nothing because we don't want to give her oxygen, or do we give her hell every step of the way? Because it's not as though if we stop talking about her, she's going to go away. This is not like Candyman. Like if you don't speak of her, she won't exist. No, this is she has billions of dollars behind her in this Fox News conservative ecosystem, and she's going to rise. And if we don't speak out and speak up every single chance, then she gets to rise unabated. She gets to rise without any challenge. So my thing is, we got to give them hell. We got to give them hell every step of the way.
So I hear you and I love you. I mean it. But
don't mean you're right.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that you're right. We can agree to disagree. So what I'm saying is it's not that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, a million people may be behind her. We can't stop that. That's how it's always been, especially with white Republicans. And now, she's a whole Karen. Okay, so people are gonna support her. They are. That's just how it is. Now, us giving her light is a different story because remember Tommy? Was that her name? Tommy? I forgot her name. Tammy?
Yeah.
Lauren. I don't know. La Cienega. I don't know. Yes, her. She remember when she was literally like the thing? The thing. Like we always talked about her. We put her in the news cycles. That was it. She was always everywhere. Now it's kind of like when we just felt like, okay, girl, she's still probably being supported by so many millions of people, but she ain't that chick no more because people just said, okay, let's turn the lights off on her. Let's just do that.
I don't. Well, go ahead, finish that thought because I don't think that's what happened.
I feel like there's so much more that we can talk about. Yes, when she, like Rand Paul deserves to be dragged for what he said to that woman and how that whole play went out. But the high schoolness, the tit for tat that's happening inside Congress, especially against somebody that we just said that we would silence or not give any attention to just last month, we need to stick to that because there's so much other things, like I said, that we could talk about. Like you just said, $15 an hour. That's more of an issue that I would like to discuss. I would like to see. And I'm not surprised at the trash that Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing or what she's saying or how she's being. That doesn't surprise me. We were upset about it already last month. Now, if she pulled what Rand Paul pulled, like going into the and attacking people and like she did on the street, or that deserves to be whatever. But the high school play, tit for tat across the way, and I don't really like. That's probably gonna happen.
Do you think
regardless.
She should not have put the flag out?
Who? No, that's not what I'm saying.
No,
let me tell you.
I'm asking. Do you think she should not have put the flag out?
No, put your flag out. Do you? But the fact that she said I put it out because I know who's across the way. I knew that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, so, and it's more like that. Like Rebecca said, that tit for tat, is not warranted. Put the flag out. Don't say nothing. You ain't got to say nothing at all. The flag's gonna speak for itself.